All right, welcome back to yet another episode. It's a pleasure to have you, Mr. Diane Ristic. Welcome to my show.
Your show? Last week it was my show. Oh my God.
Well, I
How did
mean,
you manage to snatch this? I thought only elections are snatched like this in a
no,
week,
no, since you
but
weren't
apparently a
paying me,
show can be snatched.
let me
Wow.
on this
Okay. Well,
on the hashtag.
thank you. I will send you my PayPal account where you can sort of send me the money for the show. Go ahead.
All right,
Your
shoot.
time
So
is ticking.
today's
Tick tock, tick
topic,
tock.
today's topic. What's your take on the pressure for women, especially African women, to get married?
Well, I guess it depends on who's pressurizing you. And what's in it for you? I don't know. Who's pressurizing
Family,
you?
society,
Give,
family, and even internal pressure. Most people feel if they reach the age of 32 and they haven't found a partner, they have failed at certain aspects. We have scenarios where they're career women's rocking it at their careers, doing so well, but the inability to get a man to settle down weighs down on them so much.
are you referring to a specific problem that you think is only specific to your generation, or
It
you
is, it
think it's a
is.
new problem?
I mean,
Yeah.
I've,
Well, I
okay,
can't say I can relate to it because obviously for obvious reasons, you just have to check the difference between you and I. And first of all, you have shaved your beard. Sorry, you don't have a beard, which means I'm not a woman, and
maybe
um,
give us
and I'm not
context. In
young.
your days, was there the same pressure?
Um, Probably, I would say yes. I would say yes, and it was the same pressure from the family usually and from the society. In fact, I don't even know whether we would have defined it as pressure. It was probably more. I think people think it's a pressure of the day, but they don't really realize that this has been placed into us even from the childhood. There's certain expectations in your life are placed long time ago. It looks like today's pressure, but I think pressure that's coming from within you can be, I think, biological, but also a part of your upbringing. I mean, biological clock thinking. I think, when I look at my sons and when I look at what is majorly different, maybe not so much in Africa, but I've seen in other sort of economies where they call themselves developed. I don't know whether it's true or not, but economically they're richer. The men do not want to commit, and I think the reason being is that the original concept of where man brings the bread and woman raises the children, first of all, is not there. So I personally think the deal is worse for women because I don't think that women now go to work and raise children and,
True.
and do a lot of work. So I don't know whether I would really sort of rush into it because I don't know whether the deal is really that as good as before. And I think men,
When you
we
say
are.
the deal is as good as before, what do you mean?
Sorry.
When you say you don't think the deal is as good as before, what can you clarify on that?
Well, first of all, I don't think deals for women is as good as before because
Ah,
you're under pressure to be equal to men, and yet at the same time, men don't feel about marriage the way you do. I'm not saying either is wrong. I think mothers feel differently about children than fathers. I'm not saying less or more. I'm just saying differently. So motherhood I don't think it's the same experience. I don't know, but from what I'm hearing from mothers, it's definitely not the same experience as fatherhood.
no.
So by entering that pressure on you that you have to be both career and with time and with industrialization and everything, I think a job of a mother and a housemaker has become like almost like a second grade job.
Mm.
So I don't know whether this is really true. Well, I don't think it's true. I think it's the most important job in life because
Well,
I think that mothers raise future either morons or geniuses,
do you
self-centered
think,
idiots or generous saints. I don't know. I think that comes from home, a lot of
mm,
it. Yeah? So by declaring mothers not responsible for it, the impact is tremendous because now you have to pay somebody for it.
true.
Now to pay for somebody for it, you need two salaries. And of course, the people you paid for it don't feel responsible for raising your kids at all because they think you're just paying for delivery of the curriculum. and you think they're going to give you a ready-made product when you pick them up at 3 o'clock. And so basically, I think they're being raised by mobile phones.
What do you think about the quality of men? Because most of the ladies argue that, yes, they have the career in orders and everything, but the caliber of men they're meeting in the dating market are people who are not stable or serious enough to raise a family with. So do you feel it has something to do with the upbringing? Because of course, if they were eligible men, women would naturally, want to get married. No one wants to get to 40 and they're single, if especially they have good options. So what's your take on that?
I have no idea who they're dating, so I can't tell you. But
you interact with young boys. How would you compare their character in terms of the boys back in the day?
I mean, there are always people who are selfish and people who are not selfish. I mean, there are always people who are self-centered and those who are not. I think that a lot of it depends also. It's the beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. A lot of it depends what the expectation is. I don't know what the expectation is. I have a feeling that I from what I hear, some of young people I know are married and they're in their 20s and 30s, and some of the young men I know are not married in their late 30s. And when I ask them why not, they say, "Well, there's nothing in it for me." They don't particularly care to prolong human existence on Earth. And then on top of it, they feel that the pressure of being a modern metro man is not worth the hustle in a marriage. And they're perfectly happy with their earnings. Some of them tell me very simple things like why I can buy a milk anytime in town. Why do I need to have a cow at home? So there's sort of very rude comments like that. But with moral changes, with sex being available to any generation, anytime, that pressure is not there. There are laundromats everywhere, so you don't have to you can hire a maid. So anybody who used to get married, so you can have a free maid, doesn't have to. There are takeaways everywhere. So anybody who used to get married because they can't cook is not there.
True.
And with modern generation, my generation, we also started teaching our sons to cook and to look after themselves, in hope they will not get married to find a free maid, but a partner. But the outcome is wasn't that. The outcome is like, well, I don't need anybody. I don't know who they're looking for and what are the expectations they're looking for. I don't know. What are the expectations you're looking for? What are you looking for? I'll tell you whether I came across such people or not. What are you looking for? You're a woman who is looking for a husband. So what are you looking for?
I'm not looking for a husband, but thank you.
That's the first thing. That you go into the market and say, well, I'm not looking for a husband, but I don't think you're eligible. Really? So I'm not eligible for what? Well, if I was looking for a husband, you wouldn't qualify. So if you're not looking for a husband, what are you looking for?
A life partner.
Huh?
A life partner.
A life partner. You see now, what's the difference?
Husband is a title. A life partner is...
It's not a title? What is it?
Well, I mean, I'm not looking.
No, but what you're saying is true.
Okay.
What you're saying is the truthful answer. Unfortunately, under pressure, you answered truthfully. You're not looking for a husband in a real term. You're looking for an equal life partner. Okay, so now define that, and let's see whether people want to be interested in that.
Wait, what? You're making it sound like I'm putting out an application or something.
No, I'm not making it sound. You're commenting that women are looking for husbands, but it turns out they're not. They're looking for equal life partners. Which,
loyalty.
I mean, I have daughter. I'm happy with that. But
loyalty. Loyalty for masculine men who are loyal, who have a responsible head on their shoulders. They have a career going on, and they know that family can be a priority, not just clubbing all the time and into alcohol all the time, and good family men. I think those are the top three. God-fearing to some who are religious can be a fourth.
What does good family man mean? I don't even know what you're talking about, because you seem to be borrowing something from previous generation. I just asked, what is your generation looking for? Because it's your generation who is complaining that your generation men are not interested in a deal.
Someone who
What's the
values
deal?
family, someone who values family, and it's not just about being a sperm donor. You're willing to be there for your children. You're willing to prioritize your wife, and you understand what it takes to raise a family. Because, for example, in Nairobi, where the city where I'm based, the trend is you get 3 to 4 girls pregnant, and as long as you send child support, that suffices for you as a man. But that's not the case. Having or bringing a child into this world is more than monetary. You need to be emotionally there for them as a dad. So men who recognize that and are willing to make that commitment. You went quiet. Ooh, 10 minutes.
I have no idea
in
what
one
to answer to you. But what I have to tell you is that my conclusion on the current situation in urban, and don't take my word for it because I don't qualify to say this. I think urban capitals in Africa have a unique challenge. They have abandoned the traditional African way because most of it was rural and doesn't apply to the life in urban society. And so that there was no traditional urban way in African culture. And because of that, they're not left with choices. And so therefore, I think a lot of people are picking and choosing. They pick up from traditional way, whatever suits good, but they drop whatever doesn't. Traditionally, a man would look after all the children in his compound, even if they're not his own, if they're his brothers and his brother passed away. So there was never any doubt who looks after the children. And there was never a doubt who is supposed to teach these children to do farming or cow herding. But now, the concept of having 5 wives is what people like in urban area because that means 5 girlfriends. But because there's no homestead, there's no responsibility to look after that. So I think the biggest problem here is, to be honest with you, I think is that people have not, they're excusing themselves because they don't want Western culture. They think this is Western culture, but it's not. They don't want to replace urban culture. They're thinking it's African traditional, but it's not. It's an urban culture that exists in every continent. And urban culture and rural culture that exists every continent. You can't take a rural culture and apply in town. Because the people who live in your family do not work for you. So your wife leaves home, she goes to work somewhere else, and that makes you responsible for children. So I think maybe you should be looking more in that. Who is ready to make partnership in terms of business and children and everything else? So I can tell you what I told my daughter. If you can't be friends with him, you'll never be happy in that marriage. So
that's a gem right there.
So maybe you shouldn't go out there looking for a husband. Why don't you go and look there for male friends? And include sex on the last page. Yeah?
The applications. Thank you so much. That has been 10 minutes. If you're watching this, please share, like, and subscribe. Till next time. Bye.
Wait, on your channel or my channel? Oh my God. I was just hijacked.
Whichever.
No wonder men don't want to marry young women. Okay, bye.